Figure 17 diagrammatic view of the essential parts of the distribution valve double chamber reserve. The connection between these parts of their operation may be compared with the miniature brake set. The equalizing portion representing the triple valve, the brake pressure chamber, the auxiliary reserve of the application portion, also having practically the same pressure in its cylinder as those in the brake cylinder. There is shown a diagrammatic illustration, figure 17, the convenience of compacting security through they are combined only in this one device illustrated. The equalizing portion and pressure chamber are used with automatic application, reducing the brake pipe pressure of the equalizing slide that connect the pressure pipe chamber to the application chamber of the cylinder, allowing the air to flow from the former latter. The number E, the type of the distribution valve, upper the sliding valve that attached with the piston valve of the application, a piston emitted with the brake cylinder, and its cup with the application valve, the lower one of the release air of the brake cylinder, and cup with the exhaust valve. The number 6KR type of the distributing valve incorporates the double poppet typing application valve. The relief is figure 18, the application figure valve 54 and valve 57 are operated with the application piston and supply air with the main reserve of the brake cylinder during the application. At the end of the application position of the first engage and unseize the pipe valve, allowing the air to spring in the chamber to do the flow of the brake cylinder. The opening pilot quickly drops pressure of the spring side of the application valve with the 415-4, and so much of the choke restricts for the supply air to the flow to this chamber. Thus, main reserve of the pressure acting over the outer angular air of the brake cylinder slide valve of the 54 is able to partially overcome the spring tension, reducing the air pressure of the spring chamber, with the result spring differential action of the application piston opens the application valve 54, spring 63 and 64. Promptly close the pilot application valves when application piston moves the lap after required. Figure 18 shows a photographic section view of the number 6KR distributing valve. Cylinder pressure is obtained because of the large diameter application piston. Very little difference is required to move the exhaust slide of the release position, as they are emitted to the brake cylinder comes directly main reserve of the supply with a practically unlimited air pressure. Application signaler will force the application piston to close the exhaust of the valve of the application valve with emitted air with the main reserve locomotive brake cylinders. Their pressure slightly equals that in an application cylinder, whereupon the application piston valve will return to the lap position, closing the application valve. Also, a variation of application cylinder's pressure will be exactly duplicated with the locomotive brake cylinder, and resulting pressure maintained regardless of the brake cylinder leakage. figure 19 shows an isometric valve of the equalizing side of the valve, the seat of the gradual valving. The phase of the graduating valve, the place of the equalizing slide valve, the equalizing slide valve, the equalizing slide valve seat. The operation of a locomotive brake therefore depends on the air and the release in the air of the air application cylinder. Independent application directly meets independent brake valve with the automatic applications, meaning the equalizing portion of the equalizing pressure stored with the pressure in all emergency application chambers is cut off from the application cylinder. The pressure chamber that equalizing reducing the valve at the high pressure with the surface application, with the result correspondingly high in cylinder pressure. Referring to the isometric valve, the slide valve, the figure 19, the ports of the H leads to the application cylinder, the automatic brake valve, independent brake valve, the W leads to the application chamber, the I leads to the distributing valve, the release pipe, and the L leads to the safety valve. The operation of the distributing valve is described later in the operation of the equipment. E6, figure 20 sectional view of the safety valve with the essential portion of the distribution valve. The safety valve adjusted with the wrap, removing cap nut 3, screwing it up and screwing up or down, adjusting the nut 7 for after the proper adjustment is made with the cap nut 3 must be replaced securely, tighten the valve without operating with a few times. Particular attention must be given to see these holes in the valve body. I always open that they are not changing in size, especially with the 2 operating holes. The safety valve has been shown to be adjusted to 68 pounds like adjustable device. The safety valve is most likely easy. The accurate adjustment when the work is done to be in a shop testing rack. Your duplex gauge. There are 2 duplex air gauges which has the 2 pipe connections. One gauge is connected with the main reserve and red hand and the equalizing reserve in the white hand. The other gauge has a connection of locomotive brakes and the other gauge has the connections of the locomotive brakes on the red hand and the brake pipe on the white hand. 3.5-inch duplex air gauges. The gauges shall be installed with a direct line of the vision of the engine and man while running over the road, and whether they are not obstructed in any way of intervening with objects too strong with the light back and near them. Duplex brake cylinder. Figure 23 illustrates a sectional view of the duplex brake cylinder, four of which are installed on each locomotive and illustrated with the type of the brake cylinder and consists of the cylinder with non-pressure ahead of each end of the consisting of two positions which work opposite direction where the air pressure is applied with the central chamber between the two pistons with each of the four has a hollow sleeve provided with a loose push rod to the attached lever rods and foundation brake rigging spring 22 the release spring which returns the piston releases when the air is exhausted with the cylinder with the packaging of the cup against the cylinder with the wall prevents the escape of the air piston. The duplex brake cylinder is designed to prevent the entrance of dirt in the construction in which some permits the lubrication of the moving of the parts with the removal of the piston or opening of the cylinder. To prevent the entire entrance of the dirt, each piston rod is groundly true with the diameter surface of each with the non-pressure head of 15 and 13 is fitted with a piston rod lubricated protector consisting of the felt swab of the three bronze rings which are packed with grease severe to lubricate the piston rods as well as to seal the interior of the cylinder against the dirt moisture. A tapped opening on the non-pressure heads provided with the means of lubrication of the piston sleeve and the rings. The sense of an atmospheric air most must enter the non-pressure end of the cylinder during the release movement. Each of the non-pressure head is fitted with the curled hair strainer of the 14. The strainer is a cartridge train with a hedge in place with the breather cover that prevents the flying of the filling of the dirt and water contractilely directly in strainer. Lubrication of the piston cylinders is provided with a tapped opening that is normally plugged. The plug 3 is located within show figure 22 and ports of the cylinder is located with the lever of the lubricant into the groove in each piston which is formed behind the packing of the cup in the front of the felt swab. The felt swab serves the double purpose that prevents the overflow to grow of the new non-pressure side of the piston and introducing the lubricant as it becomes saturated with lubrication. Results of the cylinder surface being re-lubricated with each of the applications and release of the move of the piston. Type U brake cylinder cylinder. A special Wabaco snap of the backing cup of the form of the piston, not cut off the center of the leg against the face of the piston, nor form or play beginning with required to hold up the place of the circumference of parameter of the piston machine that form the first shoulder over the packing of the cup is fitted with the groove back and the shoulder provided with a felt pack ring, or a swab. As already explained, the space below the heedle of Wabaco packing cup in front of the felt packing ring or swab provides a groove around the piston when filled with the outside of the lubricant serves to spread the lubricant over the cylinder wall, which within each movement of the piston. Type U brake cylinder. Type U brake cylinder is shown in figure 23, and is duplex air brake cylinder as it is shown in single position. Type B and D brake cylinders. The brake cylinder depends on the installation conditions. The type B and D brake cylinders are similar except the Type B cylinder do not have the bracket of number 19, figure 24. The lever of the bracket required for the D cylinders as furnished. The piston 3 to a hollow sleeve of the push of the piston push rod 14 attached with the front lever of the brake rigging. Piston 16 attached with the push rod of number 9, which is in the turn fastened with the hollow piston rod. With the push rod number 14 moves in and out of within the piston. Figure 24 shows the D brake cylinder and the dirt protector. The arrangement gives the necessary flexibility between the push rod and the front lever of the foundation brake. The release beginning of the 6 with the force of the piston 3 to release the portion of air pressure exhausted from the opposite end of the cylinder. The packing the cup 11 presses against the cylinder wall and prevents the escape of the piston air past the piston. The brake cylinder protects 20% of the cylinder in the wall position is impacting the dirt, thereby assuring that the normal function of the cylinder has for extended periods without necessity frequently inspection. Cleaning the protector is conical cloth hood flange on the large end of the flanging bolt and between the non-pressure head and cylinder body. The piston end of the hood is held between the two circular steel plates. These release spring 6 holds the small end of the protector against the piston will be flanged and is held in like a Gasket between non-pressure headlight and head and cylinder bodies. The hood collapses to descend with the application release of the position. Protectors are waterproof, so they are in any dirt or water centering on the non-pressure end of the cylinder is collected in the hood and discharged through the street L drain 21 bottom of the non-pressure head. Consequently, dirt never gets into, it never comes in contact with the cylinder walls or packaging. There is undue wear. Cars should be taken to avoid allowing the pistons to strike down pressure head in the air as testing the cylinder rod to detach for the cylinder level, else protector may be damaged. The two quick release valves are installed with the brake cylinder pipe, one on the front end of the brake cylinders, one on the rear. The functions are provided with the fast release of the brakes of the 3/4 of an inch pipe taps A and B with the figure 5025 and connected with the distributing valve of the brake cylinder, respectively. Piston 9 sliding out in the fit of the valve and vent number. Stem 3 normally held in position shown in spring 8 with the separating distribution valve of the brake cylinder. During a brake pipe, air pressure with the distributing valve above the piston 9 with the piston downward, which opens a passageway between the connections A and B, with the permitting with the pressure of the distributing valve to pass with the brake cylinder, the vent, and the valve of the 4 is seated with at the same time with both air and spring pressure. When the brake pressure is released, reduce the air pressure of the piston, allow the brake cylinder pressure underneath if the lift of the piston in extreme upper position with the piston contacting the valve stem with the number 6 of unsealing the stem valve vent valve of the piston. The passage between the pipe connection is not closed with the piston or the brake cylinder pressure. The free flow of the pass vent valve of the atmosphere through the 1.5-inch pipe tap acts with the brake cylinder pressure exhausted. The piston drops in normal position, seats the vent valve. Central figure dirt collector. The three central figure dirt collectors used with the equipment shown in the piping diagram with the plates 13, one installed with the brake pipe of the pipe between the brake pipe and the distributing valve. The near the later in the circumstances will permit one in the drain cock between the distributing valve of the cutout cock main reserve pressure distributing valve. One of the drain cock is placed with the main reserve between the main reserve cutout cock and the main reserve branch pipes. Figure 26 is section standard of the check valve of the type of the detachable enlarged of the dirt chamber of the check valve is outstanding feature. The design and compromise to operate the separate portions. The upper body portion with the body pair connections are made with the lower in the dirt chamber. The portion with the contains the brass umbrella shaped in the check valve with the two portions of the bolt together with the joint between is protected between the rubber gasket. The detachable dirt chamber provides for the easy cleaning of the large capacity, permits the time of the cleaning periods of the same. The distribution valve of the brake cylinder. The purpose of the check valve is to hold the dirt in the chamber to collect the dirt under all circumstances. All conditions, air brake operation, the body portion has been machine seated. Against the check valve seats for the heavy, the reduction of the pressure occurs above it and during the emergency application when charging the empty equipment, thereby shutting off the communication between the dirt chamber and the dirt collector outlet. The check valve is designed and placed on the valve of the stem and permitted with rocking motion whereby any fine dust may collect with the top of the check valve will be shaken off in the dirt chamber. Figure 27 combined air strainer and check valve compared 28 photographic angle cock. The dead end it's combined air strainer and check valve. The dead end feature shown in the diagram feeds the pipe diagram. The operational locomotive the brakes, the compressor locomotive, and the train inoperative from any case. Figure 27 shows the combined strainer with the check valve, the choke, as these parts are not required at other times, and a cutout with the provided with the cuts should be kept except for the under the conditions as mentioned. The air of the operating brakes on the locomotive must be supplied with the brake pipe of the locomotive operating with the train brakes. The cutout cock open with the air with the brake pipe at the enters the brake pipe. Brake pressure passes through the curl of the air with the strainer of the check valve of the four with the holes to see the strong spring with the two passes through the choke bushing of the main out of the main reserve to the main reserve. Provided with the pressure to operating the brake on this locomotive. The strainer protects the check valve and choke from the dirt and the spring tube over the check valve. It ensures the valve seating, and while assuring the sample pressures the operator with locomotive brakes keep the main reserve pressure somewhat lower than the brake pipe pressure, thereby reducing any leakage form of the brake. The choke prevents the sudden drop of the brake pipe pressure. Application of the train brakes, which would otherwise occur with the uncharged main reserve cut into the charged brakes. Angle cock. Figure 28 illustrates the angle pack, one of which is installed with each of the brake pipe. The cock is open with a handle parallel to the pipeline, illustrated with the close of the handle clockwise at the right angles to the pipeline. The handle may be removed immediately. The socket driving out the hinge pin of the handle may be easily removed with the first depressing it and sliding it forward to permit the web to clear socket looks. The handle course of the locks built in both open and closed position when locked. It is necessary to slightly raise the handle before it can be turned, as ensuring against the accidental opening and closing being stepped upon by flying missiles or loose rods or chains. An extension of the U-bolt groove of the brake pipe at the end of the angle cock serves the support of the brake pipe, and entering the angle cock with a provided a groove extension that permits the cock to possibly attached with a hanger bracket. The split type of the socket is used to rivet the pinhole, locking the socket to the key and drilled through the split portion, engaging the notched out cavity in the square of the key. Figure 29 shows the brake pipe T. The purpose of the brake pipe branch T is to prevent moisture of the deposit of the brake pipe from any cause of drainage of the brake pipe per connection within there is connecting and thence in the valves. Pipe fixture. The main reserve cutout cock is cut out with the vent valve of the main reserve pipe, removing the brake valve with the V valve, the reducing valve, etc. before the cock is closed with a double heading cock should be closed, and the brake valve handle placed in release position to prevent the slide of the valve with the rotary valve of the brake valve being lifted from the seat. The double heading cock is located with the brake underneath the brake valve, and depending on the heading of the surface of the cut, must be closed with the second locomotive. The handles with automatic independent brake valve placed in the running position. The brakes of the locomotive can either be completely controlled with the head locomotive, however the engine of the second locomotive can apply when release the brakes independently with the train brakes properly manipulate with the independent brake valve handle. The cutout cock is placed with the brake cylinder piping and cutting out of the brake cylinder. When necessary, one is placed with the brake pipe and the main reserve pipe and the distributing valve. Operation of other equipment.